ungapopa with Super Bits. Simply SMS Super TV to 30978 and start playing.
You are watching Super TV, Open View, channel 150.
Hello, super viewers. Welcome to the week that was with the Daily Sun. My name is Mo, and I've been tasked with bringing you some of the most interesting stories that we've had on the Daily Sun this week. But as usual, I'm not alone. I'm joined by Amos Mananyetso, who, if I'm not mistaken, is the editor-in-chief at the Daily Sun, and she's joining me all the way from an undisclosed location. But what can we say? She's a lady of style. Let's see her. How are you, Amos Mananyetso?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting us once again. It's good to be with our Super TV friends.
All right, Amos Mananyetso, did you get a chance to get through all those stories for today's show?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a couple of interesting stories in there, but one that piqued my interest, and we're getting to that later on. But let's talk about the first story that we have available for the viewers at home, and that's the one that says, so the first wife passed away, and now she's bringing back her revenge, troubling this marriage that's been long-lasting. Apparently, they also got married while she was still alive.
Yes, I think this is when polygamy goes wrong, even beyond the grave. And Tatem Shlengi was married to two ladies, but their first wife did not give consent for the second marriage. And we know that culturally, the first wife is supposed to have a say when Ndate takes a second wife. But we also know that in practice, polygamy is mired in a lot of patriarchal practices that actually tend to oppress women or not give them a voice. So even when she was alive and he wanted a second wife, she refused, but he went ahead and married, I think it's Lishe, a younger wife, and she died in February. And since then, she's been haunting them silly, the two of them. Can you imagine? There's three people in the bedroom now, but the other one, I guess, is a ghost and somebody that's haunting the marriage.
Yeah, but in the story, they do explicitly say that she was against the marriage, in the first place. But as Rose said, she didn't approve of this marriage, and they still went on without her consent, and that's exactly what they're facing. But the wife from Laura and the husband has a whole different issue altogether.
Yes, I do. I wish I could talk to her beyond the grave. I think she should haunt the husband more. But this lady, every time she closes her eyes, she gets somebody that tells her, stay away from my man. You can imagine how scary it is. So, but she creatively is haunting the husband, because now the 4-5 is limp. They can't do anything. But I think it's more to spite the younger wife still. And I'm glad that both of them are experiencing. I'm just that it's fair that both of them are experiencing this haunting.
Yeah.
We went to a healer and asked what usually happens in this instance. So it's quite interesting. They say that she still has to be appeased even beyond the grave.
Yes.
They have to slaughter and they have to remarry afresh. So it's going to cost them, and we're hoping that if they do that, the haunting will stop.
Wow, it's a lot. Hey, sometimes you think the grave ends everything, but sometimes some things just go also beyond to the other side. But let's talk about the second one, because apparently this Sangoma's dolls love alcohol, but of that gin specifically.
Especially that it's gin. I'm not sure before gin became the in drink, what did the dolls drink? But yeah, it's from Cape Town. It's a story from Cape Town. There's 10 dolls which make part of this Induma. This Indumba of this famous Inyanga who passed on. And the wife often forgets to actually appease the dolls that make up this Induma. We did ask if the dolls do help out during consultations, but no, it seems the dolls are there to guard the spirit of this inyanga. And the dolls love gin, so early in the morning she has to wake up and then make sure that she appeases them with this alcohol. And we talk to residents as well. It's a point of interest, of curiosity in the township.
So is there a specific brand that these dolls want? Are they saying Rebata Tenkare or Rebata Bomakotins? Because I heard in the
actually we didn't ask, okay? So I'm hoping they're not expensive. But on the shot that we have, I think if you look carefully, I'm not sure, I think it's Gordon's on the shot that
No, I looked at that shot. I think the Old Park, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, all right.
Ish, Marlena, how do I know?
They're not fussy and expensive. And what she also said that was interesting is that if she forgets to appease them with the gin, it dries up completely. But if she does it, she's guaranteed, I think, to see between more than 30 or about 40 clients a day. So it works for her.
Wow, it really does. Let's move on to the next story because this one is going to be very interesting for Machita at home because this one, it speaks straight to Machita. So it reads, invisible poking muti. Can you please talk to us about that one?
You know the muti that the muti that we've heard about growing up, the Mshosha Pansi. It's more also popularly known as Punyuka Bampete.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, this muti was very popular with, or has always been popular with shady characters. Criminals believe that if they, smear it on and go out and do crime, that they will be invisible and that they will, not be detected by the police. I think if you recall, when we did the Marikana commission, even the miners, before they actually went to march at the Kopi, they went and consulted in the Eastern Cape, a famous strong Inyanga who gave them this, and he had told them with this muti, if they would shoot you or anything, the bullets would race past. But through history, I think, Mukhumutsu, we've seen that a lot of these, famous criminals that would be on the wanted list, and everybody would be in township legends saying that it's because they use Punyuka Bampete.
Yeah.
They always get arrested. So for some people, maybe there's a merit in this muti, but it's interesting now that this muti apparently has gained a favor during lockdown, where partners want to, I think, police their girlfriends, their wives, by becoming invisible. I don't know if they want to see if the partners are doing things that they should not do, but we've heard that they say it's because when partners don't want to see them due to lockdown regulations, these men, I think they suspect that the partners are holed up with other people. But did you also see that there's an evil element around this muti? Because I think it's now can be used by people like rapists.
Yes.
Because it says that in the copy that they actually go there to have intercourse and sex with partners that did not consent to them having sex with them. So it's an evil muti, and we get a couple of healers actually to condemn it. That it's usually used by people that want to help out people that do wrong things.
I mean, when you think about it, it's very wrong for someone to, first of all, it's wrong, or it's completely wrong. I mean, for you to become invisible, then all of a sudden look at I look consult no, now I'm getting raped by something I cannot see, only to find that it's someone that you possibly might even know who's doing all of this to you, which is why Osmapula is an evil element to the story. But let's move on. Let's go to the next story. It says dirty panties boost. Osmapula, am I reading this right?
Yes, you're reading it right. Yeah, it's those interesting elements of the lives and times of Sunland readers. It's a belief by a lot of business people that one can use dirty underwear to make muti, to boost their businesses. This would obviously be businesses in the food and liquor industry, where you have to be obviously doing, whether you're doing magwinya or doing cooking scopo or actually brewing umqombothi. I mean, I've heard of it before, but to actually have people that we now traced that can say that either they tried it or did not
they're
try
doing it, yeah.
Yes, was quite interesting. In the copy, we talked to a guy that ended up being embarrassed and his reputation short, obviously. He tried it and he told us how he would even make plus minus 30,000 or 40,000 a week. He was cooking scorpo in Naledi, I think, in Soweto. And one day, I think when he was very busy, that underwear floated up in the pot, and somebody screamed, and it caused obviously a lot of pandemonium and people being upset. With word of mouth, people started to boycott his business and blacklist him, and he's regretting it now. But yeah, it's interesting because the picture that you see was given. We got permission from a Zimbabwe publication, where a couple of days earlier they had done raids, and then they caught a woman brewing umqombothi, and there are the panties inside. So it's an interesting concept, but is it hygienic as well, even for starters, before you even think of the muti to actually get people to come to your store? So we talk about those issues in the article.
Also, Mapula, this story is very scary because I remember there was a time when our soccer team was addicted to this one place. Spine. I understand why they rat. And they rata ka passion. They say why rata spine, but this rata too much. Until someone said to us, weekend Friday inside. Yeah, Friday inside are lo reka take away. Naki misa go spining. Ahlanya khor. Kisa go spining. So maybe there was something there. Maybe the story is a wake up call for a lot of people out there. But let's investigate more healthier standards of food. Let's get someone in there to go evaluate what's going on, because they told a little nashap like a pet. Ha.
But I was equally happy that we got a lot of people that said we were tempted to try it, but we didn't try it.
Yeah.
I mean, just the thought of it, of anybody's dirty underwear, having to put your dirty underwear in food is disgusting. So it was good to talk to people that said that, we considered that money is not, the alpha and omega of our lives. We've got the responsibility to our customers.
All right, let's move on to the next story, Mapula, because this one is quite interesting. Now, we know of bachelor parties. We've always seen them in movies where people come up with these sexy cakes. But now this is happening in South Africa, and this young lady decided to start all of this during level 4 of the lockdown.
Yes, I like this young lady, Snazo. And what was also interesting is that this is a follow-up for us. We did a story on the stripper that had ordered the cake. She used lockdown to build, a business. And I checked her Facebook profile. She bakes very stunning cakes. But as a business person, she's agile. So when this lady asked for a 4-5 cake, she gave it to her, and this lady has got a huge following, and soon she also posted it on her socials, and people were shocked, obviously, especially her church members, and she's very confident. She's saying that she's a business lady. She has to give clients what they need, and there's nothing wrong in the choice and the shape of the cakes that some of the clients are looking for. But the 4-5 kuku now, I think in her range of kukus that she bakes, is becoming more popular. I think it's the novelty of it, because you'd ask yourself, who exactly orders this cake?
Exactly.
But yeah, when it's not bachelor parties, and those type of, or maybe a party at some strip joint, apparently couples also order it just for the novelty of it. So I think she's onto a good thing, and she was able to tell her church members that I'm in business here, and this business is growing, so leave me alone.
Hey, let's leave that one for the people about Odara because now I just think the novelty of the name, 45 Google, it hits you every time. But let's move on and let's go talk about the Bokotos that took matters in their own hands. So it says Bokotos rock funerals. What does that mean, Osmapula?
Wow, for me it's a stunning capture because the photographer was actually at a funeral, and so obviously this very unusual element of women. You know, in our culture, it's men. It's a role that specifically is for men. So there were 2 funerals, and it was a community funeral as well. And I think a lot of the organizers, as we know in communities, are women when there is a need to be satisfied. So this family did not have enough money to bury Mkulu, and on top of it, a toddler in the same family died. So the community that actually rallied around this family, a lot of them were women. And on the day that of the funeral, there's 2 holes, in the cemetery, and there isn't enough men in the group to actually help them. So what did the women do? They took off their high heels, they put their handbags to the side, and then they took up the shovels and then started filling up the graves. So we felt it was something that is actually beautiful and to be commended. What's your thoughts on this, Mukhumutsi?
I'd like to see things like this because it reminds everyone that we live in an equal society, and for Mama to take up the shovels and actually take up this task, it shows that in society we cannot always just base things on gender. We have to look beyond that and look at tasks as challenges that need to be overcome. So Osmapula, we're running out of time very fast, so I wanted us to skip through to the Sun readers and what they had to talk about this week. And the biggest topic on everybody's lips is the Pan-African Parliament. I mean, that fight that took place over there. So what are your thoughts on that before we move on to the digital bones?
I think it's unacceptable because a lot of countries actually paid a lot of money to make sure that these representatives come to PAP and actually vote for what is needed, because PAP is needed to actually unify the continent, to highlight all the problems of the continent and to come up with solutions that we can all be proud of. But for them to fight like they are in a schoolyard, and like bullies in a schoolyard, it was very shameful for me. It was disgraceful. Also because it happened over a period of time. I think there were fights over four days. And unfortunately, then PEP had to be suspended. Now, do we really need to spend the money to get people like that to come back and at taxpayers' expense come back to fight? I think we need to question if PEP is relevant and if PEP maybe should be dissolved or not.
Wow, dissolved is a very strong statement, because I saw something that Uchulas Malema said after the whole incident when you're talking about a unified Africa and how much strength a unified Africa would have on not just the continent, but on talking about in the global economic scale. But it's something that it's very important because we need to unify Africans. I mean, we are divided by not only borders, but our own prejudice. So it's a very important platform. But if they're going to fight on that platform, and like you said, at our expense, because us as taxpayers, we are bankrolling those fights. So we need to then either hold them to account or find a way to hold them to account, and then that could be a better resolution than just to let them be. But now they're also embarrassing us. Imagine how the rest of the world sees Africa. But no, in Africa, the barbarians, even the parliaments are just always fights and people throwing chairs around and people getting slapped and people getting kicked.
Exactly. The AU needs to hold PEP to account.
Of course. So let's move on to the digital bones. Now, this is interesting because the topic this week was weed. And I just wanted to hear what they have to say when it comes to this, what people consider a happy herb, a herb that's associated with a lot of people, including hippies. So let's find out what was on digital bones this week.
Our readers want to know whether there's a connection between weed and ancestors. Khona izangoma ezibhema insangu kakhulu. Ngabe ikhona into enjalo ukuthi amadlozi nensangu kuyahlangana.
Ngisho kanje ngithi amadlozi nensangu kuyahlangana. Abantu abadala kwakudala vele insangu bebe bayilima bona. Mabashisa emsamo insangu bayashisa. Laba ababhemayo uthola ukuthi idlozi lakhe uphethe lo baba lo kade abhema le nensangu le. Akwenzeki ukuthi ayiyeke. Uzoyibhema imphilisi umuthi kuye njengoba azoba athathe lesinqumo sokuthi ngizomsebenzela lo muntu angiphethe emzimbeni wami. So if kuwumuntu basho ashone kuloko abhema insangu uzoyibhema naye azahambe. Uhlangana kanjalo nje insangu namadlozi bakhona ababhemayo hayi akwalele kuyavumeleka umuthi insangu thina singabhemi ukhona into siyisebenzisayo insangu empilweni yomuntu.
Well, if I understood him correctly, he said some people, Vele, because their ancestors used to smoke this herb, they will then also in their practices smoke this herb. Mapula, can I get your thoughts on this topic, please?
Yes, it's really not saying that amadlozi are high, but it does say that when you have twasad, you carry your ancestors. So you often have to then do what their ancestors want. So if one of their ancestors was somebody that smoked weed, as he explains it, you would smoke it, and that weed is part of your medicine because you need to be in that probably meditative spirit of that particular ancestor when you're consulting with it to help you help your clients. So it was a very interesting explanation, and I think our readers got a very good lesson from Ubabunzame. Is always fascinating in his explanations.
It's a very powerful one because we've always seen this thing as a drug, according to what we've learned from the World Health Organization and everybody else who's ever written a review on it, saying that it's either a drug. No one has actually talked about the spiritual implications of weed, and it's nice to hear his feedback and understand that some people, choice, it is something that is within them and something that connects them to amadlozi, which is a very beautiful thing. Also, Pula, thank you for joining me again today. Where do people find you on the socials?
On Facebook, we Daily Sun. On Twitter, we Daily Sun SA. So hope people connect with us on our socials and join us in many fascinating debates that we usually have, especially on Facebook.
All right, thank you so much for making time to join me, Mapula. Well, super viewers, that is the week that was. Now, a couple of stories that I forgot to mention was one that the Fergusons are starting a foundation that's going to be catering for education and all kinds of things. That's something you can check out by visiting the not the SuperBits website, but you can check it out on the Daily Sun website and go check out the article there. Thank you for joining me on the week that was. I'll see you again next week from 5 to 5:30.
You are watching SupaTV, Open View, channel 150. Time to unwind as we bring Mzansi's freshest DJs to the comfort of your home. Turn up your groove with Super Beats, Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. Only on SupaTV, Open View, channel 150.
No mask, no entry.